It's now time to start Amazing Earth Level 1, which will be on slow land changes. During this level, you will discover that Earth's surface is always changing because of weathering, erosion, and deposition. These three natural processes have broken down and moved rocks and minerals for many millenniums. As scientists pay close attention to these changes, they notice how landforms have changed over time and how they may change in the future. The weathering of rocks has also created soil for humans to use in many ways. Those are the things that we'll be learning in this level. To get us ready for this mission, we're going to look at our mission objective. Our mission objective is to identify characteristics of Earth's three main layers. So what could we learn about what's unique about each of those three main layers? Our challenge question is, what are Earth's three main layers called? What are their names? How is the mantle like the white of a hard-boiled egg? And what is the difference between the inner core and outer core when we're talking about those three different layers? In this mission, you will find out about the three layers of the Earth, the elements thought to make up those layers, and what's really at the center of the Earth. You will also discover that landforms exist on one of these layers. Before I get started with my lesson, we're going to watch a video based on what we'll be learning in this lesson. I just want you to watch it to preview what we'll be learning this mission.
The Earth's layers.
If you could cut the Earth in half, you would see that it is made up of 3 layers of rock. These layers are clues to how the Earth has changed over time. The layers on the outside are the newest layers, and the layers on the inside are the oldest layers.
Crust.
The newest layer, the outside layer, is called the crust. The crust is probably the only layer of the Earth that you have seen. The crust is made up of all 3 types of rock: igneous, sedimentary, and metamorphic. The crust is the thinnest layer overall, but it does have thicker areas.
Even though Earth looks smooth from outer space, it is the crust that gives it different shapes. These are called landforms.
Mountains, valleys, plains, plateaus, rivers, and lakes. Under the oceans, the crust is thinnest.
Mantle.
Below the crust is the mantle. The mantle is the thickest layer.
If you think of the Earth as a hard-boiled egg, the mantle would be about as thick as the egg white.
The mantle is really hot. So hot that some of the rocks that make up the mantle are nearly melted. At the outer edge of the mantle, near the crust, the rock seems solid. But because of the heat, much of the rock moves, almost like a liquid. It can flow like syrup, or stretch like putty. As you get deeper toward the center of Earth, it gets hotter, and the rock is squeezed tighter together. This is called pressure. When the heat and the pressure are greater, some of the rocks in the mantle melt and escapes through the cracks in the surface. That's how volcanoes are formed.
Core.
Right inside the mantle is the core. The core is even hotter than the mantle. The rocks in the outer part of the core are so hot that they are liquid. This melted rock that moves between the mantle and the core forms a wavy border. This liquid rock is called magma. The inner core, the very center of the Earth, is almost as hot as the sun. The inner core is made of iron and nickel. The inner core is solid, and it stays solid because of the pressure of the whole Earth squeezing it together.
Okay, now that you have some background knowledge on Earth's three main layers, let's unpack that a little and talk about it ourselves. Make sure you're filling out your notes as I go through this. We're going to talk about Earth's three main layers. The Earth has three main layers: the crust, the mantle, and the core. Sometimes scientists would divide the core into the outer core and inner core and would say that the Earth has four main layers, but for us, we're going to say that Earth has three main layers: the crust, the mantle, and the core. Earth's structure, I'm going to give you an analogy. Earth's structure is much like a hard-boiled egg. I want you to think about and picture what a hard-boiled egg looks like. A hard-boiled egg has a nice outer shell. It has a white, the white of the egg, and then it also has the yolk of the egg. And that's very similar to the Earth. The Earth has a hard outer shell. It has the mantle in the middle, and then it has the core in the middle. So we're going to use that analogy to help us understand Earth's structure as well. Let's first talk about Earth's crust. In our analogy, the egg will represent the thin outer layer of the Earth called the crust. The crust is the layer that we live on. It is broken up into different pieces, and we'll talk about those different pieces next level. And it's made up of solid rock and soil. The crust is thickest underneath the continents. Underneath the oceans, it's not as thick, and it's because it doesn't have as much land there to take up space. We also find landforms on Earth's crust. Let's talk about some landforms. A landform is a natural formation or an area of land on Earth's crust. Landforms can be formed very quickly, but usually and most often they are formed very slowly over a long period of time. So again, they can't really be formed very quickly. Usually they're going to take a long time to be created. We can divide landforms into three different groups based off of their elevation, their area above or below land. We call it mountains, hills, and plateaus raised landforms because they are above the crust. We call valleys and canyons lower areas of land because they actually dip down below where we would consider the crust. And we call flat areas of land like plains and prairies because they are flat. So that's Earth's crust. Let's talk about Earth's mantle. The mantle is much thicker than the crust. In fact, it's the greatest part of Earth's mass. It takes up the most space. You can see that there in the picture that it takes up more space than any other layer. One of your challenge questions was the mantle is mostly solid, but it is flexible, kind of like the white of an egg. I want you, in your notes, to highlight that bullet point. The mantle is mostly solid, but it is flexible, kind of like the white of the egg. You're going to highlight that because that is going to help you answer one of those questions at the end of this mission. The temperature below the crust can be very, very, very hot. Some of the lower crust and mantle are made of melted rock that moves very slowly and flows and moves. This hot molten rock is called magma, and we'll learn what happens to that magma over time later this quest. Let's talk about Earth's core. As I said, it can be divided into the outer core and the inner core. The core of the Earth, the yolk, in our egg analogy, is mainly made of iron and nickel. One of your challenge questions is to compare the outer core and inner core. So let's see how they're different. The outer core consists of superheated liquid molten lava. Notice how I have liquid emphasized there. And the lava is made mostly up of iron and nickel. The inner core, on the other hand, is solid ball of iron and other minerals. So how are they different? The outer core is liquid, the inner core is solid. And the temperature is extremely hot. You can see there about 13,000 degrees Fahrenheit. And there's a lot of pressure because all of Earth, all the other layers are stacked on top of it, creating a lot of pressure in it. Let's do our summary really quickly. Earth is divided into 3 different layers: the crust, the mantle, and the core. The crust is the part that we live on. The mantle is very hot and thick. It takes up the largest space of the 3 different layers. And the core can be divided into 2 different parts: the inner and outer core. The outer core being liquid, the inner core being solid. With that, you should be ready to take the challenge to answer those questions. Remember to go back into your notes to find those answers before moving on to the next mission. If you have any questions, please let me know. I will be glad to help you answer those questions. I will see you in Mission 2.